Amidst the snow-covered forest, silent with winter chill, the movement was clearly captured from the drone's camera perspective. Among the spindly tree trunks and frozen ground, a group of Russian personnel could be seen moving cautiously. Large backpacks hung from their backs, a clear sign of a troop rotation underway, an attempt to replace units on the front lines and replenish vulnerable positions. However, the sky above them was already alive. Fighters from the SIGNUM Battalion had scouted the route from the start, and the FPV drone operator was monitoring every step, every shadow that moved through the trees. From the drone's camera perspective, the figures of Russian troops could be seen moving quickly across the open ground. They carried large backpacks, a clear sign that they were moving ammunition, supplies, or combat equipment to reinforce a new position. Their movements were hurried but organized, trying to seize every second before being detected. However, they were unaware that every step was being precisely monitored by an unblinking electronic eye. The SIGNUM drone operator, hidden far from the front lines, calmly steered the small flying machine towards the target. The FPV drone zoomed low, cutting through the air at a deadly speed, leaving no chance of escape. The footage shows that as the target came into range, the operator locked onto it. The bulky backpack they were carrying served as a clear marker for their position. Within seconds, the drone struck with brutal explosive force. The explosion shattered the silence of the battlefield, turning the rotation attempt into chaos. The remaining Russian troops scrambled to scatter, some seeking cover, others frozen in panic. However, the skies were no longer safe for them. A second and subsequent drones were already at their disposal, ensuring that no rotation could be completed successfully. The footage shows this attack was not a spontaneous act. It was a coordinated operation. Every movement was detected. Every reinforcement attempt was stopped before it could reach the defensive line. With aerial dominance via FPV drones, Ukrainian forces steadily destroyed the enemy's ability to hold their positions. The forest, once a safe route for rotation, became a dangerous zone under close air control. On the modern battlefield, even seemingly routine troop rotations can turn into moments of greatest vulnerability. For the SIGNUM Battalion, every gap in the opponent's movements was an opportunity that would not be left to chance. And on that day, the sky completely belonged to SIGNUM. On the same day, Ukrainian drone pilots from the Phoenix unit are intensifying their operations on the Lyman axis, delivering precision strikes against Russian forces and equipment. According to the report, the unit recently destroyed the BM-21 Grad multiple launch rocket system, depriving Russian troops of a key source of indirect firepower in the sector. The elimination of the BM-21 Grad system is tactically significant. The system, widely used by Russian forces to saturate Ukrainian positions with unguided rockets, remains a central tool in Moscow's artillery-heavy doctrine. Its destruction not only reduces immediate fire pressure, but also disrupts planned offensive or suppressive operations. Beyond artillery, the Phoenix pilots are actively targeting Russian assault groups attempting to advance on the Lyman direction. By identifying and striking infantry concentrations before or during assaults, the unit is helping blunt enemy attacks and increase the cost of Russian offensive actions. The report also highlights strikes against Russian UAV operator positions. This is a critical dimension of modern warfare, as drone operators coordinate reconnaissance and adjust artillery fire. Neutralizing these teams degrades Russia's battlefield awareness and reduces the effectiveness of its indirect fires. Logistics interdiction forms another core element of Phoenix Unit's operations. By hitting supply routes and vehicles, the unit aims to sever ammunition, fuel, and reinforcement flows to frontline units. In high-intensity combat, even temporary logistical disruption can stall momentum and weaken assault capabilities. Footage referenced in the report shows armored vehicles, including infantry fighting vehicles and armored personnel carriers, burning after successful strikes. The destruction of such platforms limits Russian mobility and protection for assault troops, compounding personnel losses and reducing operational flexibility. As Defense Express previously reported, on the night of February 24th, units of Ukraine's unmanned systems forces conducted a coordinated series of strikes targeting key elements of Russia's air defense and artillery capabilities. According to the Unmanned Systems Forces commander, Major Robert Madyar Brovdy, Ukrainian drone operators successfully hunted down and hit a multiple launch rocket system, two types of surface-to-air missile systems, and a radar station across several sectors of the front and in temporarily occupied Crimea. Ukrainian troops are conducting localized counterattacks near the border of Dnipropetrovsk and Zaporizhzhia regions, exploiting mounting communication failures inside Russian forces following the loss of access to Starlink and disruptions to Telegram, according to the Institute for the Study of War, ISW. The operations are tactical rather than strategic in scope, analysts say, aimed at restoring frontline cohesion and capitalizing on weakened Russian command and control systems. ISW says Ukrainian troops are conducting local and opportunistic attacks along the border, using the gaps in Russian command and communications. Footage from February 12th shows Russian strikes east of the Kaichur River, including east and south of Dobropilya and north of Varvarivka, northwest of Huliai-Pole. Ukrainian forces had been holding these positions and are now using counterattacks to link separate strongpoints. Reports show Russian infantry assaults fell 20 to 30% after losing access to Starlink and facing Telegram problems, though attacks have not stopped entirely. Daily clashes averaged 130 to 160 per day in the past week, down from 180 to 200 attacks, with occasional peaks of 230 to 250, according to Ukraine's general staff. Friday's report showed 142 clashes in 24 hours. The most intense fighting was in Pokrovsk, 37 attacks repelled, and southern Huliai-Pole, 24 attacks repelled. On February 4th, SpaceX shut down gray and black market Starlink terminals in Russia and occupied Ukraine, after Ukraine asked for help. This did not affect Ukrainian forces, which use official Starlink terminals to share intelligence and target information quickly. For Russian units, though, hundreds of terminals stopped working, cutting off key communications and drone operations. On February 9th, Russian authorities moved to limit access to Telegram, pushing people to a state app, Messenger Max. Telegram is the main tool Russian units use to coordinate on the front lines. While the slowdown didn't immediately reduce attacks much, it caused frustration.